Hello everybody. Hope you're doing well. Please let me know if you don't see my screen or you don't hear me, um, so I would be able to fix it quickly. From our side, we are ready to start. Thank you for joining this fifth session. Um, for anyone who may have missed a small introduction from my side, my name is Julia Rindinkova. I'm Director of Engineering here at Hystax, and I'm leading the session today. Feel free to write your questions once you have some directly to the questions panel, the one that you see in the webinar page. On the webinar page. So today we're going to talk about monitoring and troubleshooting. What to do when some errors occur, when how to find out the reason, how to monitor the solution work, and so on and so forth. Uh, Here is the list of questions that we're going to discuss. We'll start from replication agents logs, move to all Acura controller logs, where we store them, how to find them, and how to filter them. Some LK tips, useful filters that may be used in your work with a solution to monitor and operate the logs. How to redirect how to redirect the logs to the external Logstash, and how to monitor the speed, the replication speed. How to find out the bottleneck of the replication part, if there is some. So starting with Windows replication agent logs, a couple of words where they are located, and I'll show on a real machine how they look like. So the logs are located in this hidden folder, program data. It's on the C drive and hidden by default. So if you don't see this folder, just make the hidden files and folders visible. Two logs that can be found right over there: Replication log and HWR agent log. The first one will have information about from the replication manager, like interaction with Acura. These parts will be in the replication log, and the CBT parts about getting the changes, the blocks of changes, and so on. This all will be in HWR agent log. These logs have limited size, and when the sizes exceed 10 megabytes, when the sizes exceed, a new file with the log is created. Two ways to find the logs. Two ways to display the logs: debug logs, debug level of logging, and info logs. As for the debug logging, of course, they will have more information about what's going on and what's actually happening right now from the replication side. But the default one is info, the info level. And we would highly recommend to turn off the debug logs mode once it's not needed anymore, because the agents, as far as the agent sends the logs to Acura, and the debug logs are pretty informative. It will send quite a lot logs to LK, to Acura. Here are a couple of examples of the info level. So, for example, in case of successful registration of the agent, you'll get the following log: that the agent is registered successfully to some specific customer, And of course, you can get the status of replication, the percentage, again, directly from the log also. Um, here is my Windows machine. I already have my hidden files and folders visible. So there is the folder program data. You may see that the icon here is not so visible as the other ones. And here is the folder Hystax, Acura, and log. These are the two files that I was talking about. The Rapman log is a little bit more in size because it has more information, of course, about the run process. As you may see, there is also some diagnostic information about the VSS running in the system, about the volumes that the machine has, about some errors that may appear. They will also be visible, of course, here in the log with some specific reason of the issue. How actually to turn on the debug logs? There is a config file, repman.conf, that needs to be open with the administrative privileges, and there is a specific key, debug logging enabled, and it needs to be set to true to turn on the debug logs. And as far as the agent itself consists of two parts, the replication manager part and the CBT part. The CBT part also needs to be turned on with a debugging mode separately. To start operating, to start changing the config files, first of all, of course, you need to stop the service, the HWR agent service, because the service is constantly using these files. And once the operations with the config files are done, you just need to start this service again, and the agent will get the updated config file and start writing extended debug logs. We also have a knowledge pay article for this, having all these steps with the screenshots where to find the configs and the logs. Just let me show you it quickly a little bit. So here is my Rapman config file. I will open it with my editor. Here is the key that I'm interested in. By default, it's set to false, so it's the info level. And I will start the service HWR agent and set this key to true, this value to true. So here is my service. Here is my service. It's running. I'm gonna stop it. Okay, and now yes, reload. And now I'm gonna set this value to true and save. And the next file is stored nearby cvt.conf that I'm gonna open with my editor, and again find the key debug here that I will also set to true. Once this is done, I'm just starting the service, and now I can check that actually the debug mode is enabled for my. If I go down to the very end, yeah. Also in the debug information, here is the debug level enabled. The debug level information will also have requests about heartbeat requests. But yeah, let me disable it now because I don't want to get too much logs sent to my cluster false. And again, false here in CBT. False. And I'm starting the service. Okay. So yeah, this is once again the example of the debug level logs. This is the part from the CBT log, as you can see from this point. The debug label is enabled, and here is the information about actually the blocks that we're sending. Moving forward, Linux replication agent logs. Where to find them? We're storing the Repman log in the var log folder, the default one for all the Linux logs. It has the logs from the replication manager. The one is that is like cross platform for both Windows and Linux agents. And the other log that we're writing to, it's the mask log. That's like standard Linux log, and there in the information about HSS driver, about the CPT part can be found. So if, for example, you're installing an agent and you're getting some error about HSS, that driver can be installed or something like this, more detailed information can also be found here in this log. Uh, of course, here there are also two ways to display logs: debug and infor. And infor is again the default one that is used for Linux agent. A couple of examples here again about the from the logs that we took from the Linux agent. As you may see, regarding the replication manager log, it looks like pretty the same. So as far as wrapping part for Windows and Linux is the same. Of course, the logs will look pretty much the same, but the difference will be in the CBT parts here. From again, they are starting their application processes, getting snapshots, all of this information will be in the agent log. How to turn on the debug log on the for the Linux replication agent? Here again, of course, we need to stop the service first because the service is constantly using the configuration files. Update the configuration files in etc Hystax Acura folder, repman.conf and cbt.conf, and start the service. Start the service again. Let me show you it very quickly. Here is my CentOS machine that has Linux agent running. I'm gonna check the status of the service. HLR agent status. Yeah, it's running. I'm gonna stop it. Yeah, it's stopped now. I'm moving to the folder etc Hystax Acura. And here are my two config files that I need to edit, cbt.conf and repman.conf. I'm gonna show you the content, but I will not edit them directly. The repman.conf looks like pretty much the same. as it looks for the Windows agent. So here is the flag that the key and the flag that I need to put to true here. And the cbt.conf file. It's here. It's a little bit different, but there are pretty much um, similar things with the Windows agent. And here is my debug login enabled that needs to be set to true if I want to enable debug logs and get more detailed information about the processes and the internal operations of the agent. The example of the debug log here, that's a post request that is sent to REST APIs. You may see from some specific agent. That's its ID and its heartbeat. Actually, HB stands for heartbeat, and the agent sends heartbeat requests every 30 seconds and gets the reply from the REST API service, and the agent sends in the heartbeat the information about the machine, its name, and the state that it's currently in. The next and the last agent that we're going to talk about today is the viewer replication agent. It differs a little bit from a lot of the agents as far as it's obviously external and it's deployed as separate instance to an SXI host, and it resides on the VM, and it has its own terminal UI, console, services, and so on and so forth. And um, of course, there will be some differences in the login parts of the viewer agent also. The last logs you may also see in the terminal interface of the viewer agent of the machine itself, of the console. And to get the full log, you can go to console in the terminal interface and read the file under the folder logs that is named HVRH log, or go directly to Kibana to get the whole log of the agent. As far as the viewer agent, it's a separate machine with its own IP address. I can easily, and you, of course, the users, and they can easily SSH to this machine with the default name user, and with the password also user. The information about this is available in the summary of the machine and the notes of the machine. So when I SSH my viewer agent, I get again the same terminal user interface that's available in the console of the machine, where you can see the very last information about the logging. But if I want to get more, there is the menu that is available right from here, and I clicked console by clicking enter, pressing enter. I get directly to the container with the replication agent, and here there is a folder logs. Here is the log of the agent. To get the full log, I just need to open it, and I can see everything that was going on with my agent. Okay. The way to turn on the debug logs here is a little bit different, again, because the agent itself differs from the previous two ones. And to turn on the debug logs there, we need to get to the console, to the agent console, to get directly to the container with the replication agent, and create a special flag to enable the debug logs. So this is the file that is created with touch, for example. An empty file that is a flag for the replication agent that it needs to start writing the debug level logs. And once the file is created, we just need to restart the service. Let me show you this. I'm already inside the container. I'm gonna copy this. I'm not sure if I can copy this. Okay, where run HV urgent? Okay, we'll just type it then. Touch where run HV HVR agent log. Yeah, debug logs. HVR agent HVR agent debug logs. I will check agent. Yep, debug logs. Looks like where run HV agent debug logs. Let me check. Touch where run HVR agent debug logs. HVR agent debug logs. The HVR agent debug logs. Something's wrong to my agent. I will need to check this. Okay, sorry for this. And once the flag is created, I just need to restart the services. This can also be done from the console by clicking the restart services. And the restarting process will appear right over here. Okay. As for the controller logs, Acura controller logs, we have the LK stack integrated with our services, and it's run inside Acura by default. All the services that Acura consists of, all of them send information to Acura controller and to Kibana that is available on the port 30081. The replication agents, they use UDP port 12001, yeah, the to send the logs to Acura. And here are the credentials that are available for our users to access Kibana logs to get more information about some specific internal services, their operations or errors, or everything that's going on inside Acura. A couple of useful search queries that we suggest our users to use to find out some information, for example, about some specific container by its internal name, for example, REST API, about some specific replication agent, for example, a case of VMware replication agent. Of course, it has its own IP address, and the logs can be filtered by IP address of the replication agent and its host Cabro. That's the internal naming of the replication agent container. Another way to find the logs, the agent logs, for example, is to copy its ID directly from Acura and to get the logs from this specific agent. Or we can get, for example, some REST API logs with only errors. And in case of error, obviously these messages will appear by the filter. Let me show you a little bit how it looks like. So here is my cluster. It's running in Azure. Okay, and here is the list of machines that I have. I wanted to get, for example, the logs from this specific agent. I'm gonna copy its ID. I'm gonna move here and filter by. That's the dashboard of Kibana. So once the user logs in, that's what he sees. We filter by message and container name to get more information from what service we get the message and what message we particularly get. So I'm going to filter by agent ID to get the logs. Here are my logs once I enabled the debug logging. Here of my Windows agent, here are these debug logs that I sent here, because that's the post request that is sent from the agent to REST API, and that's the response that it gets from the REST API service. That's the message about my restart of the service. Um, the information about replication is also available right from here. The time range can be set directly from here. If you want to monitor some very last, for example, logs, you may want to use some quick filters. You may use auto refresh to get the logs in the real time with some refreshing interval. For example, uh, if I keep this filter and I start my replication process, start production, I will see the change of logs from this agent here in the interface. Several more filters that can be used to search by. If you want, for example, to get the logs from all replication managers that you have, you may just need to you can just use the host Rapman filter. If you want to get the logs from all the external agents that you have, you may use only this filter. If you want, for example, to get the information from REST API, like what's here are my logs, what's REST API doing right now, we can filter the following way: container name, REST, and I'm gonna stop this auto refreshing. So here are the requests and the logs from the REST API service. For example, there was some warning. I can check what this warning was about. I can see that, as you may say, there are quite quite a lot of logs about the REST API, and it's better, of course, to know what you're looking for. For example, if you want to get the information about some specific device ID or some specific cloud site ID and so on and so forth, all of this can be also available right from here. And as far as we're using Elasticsearch for the external Logstash, we can also redirect the agent logs to the external Logstash. And to do this, you just need to change the IP address in the config file that stands for the Logstash. And the agent will send information, the logs information to some external Logstash. There is Logstash host and Logstash port here. Yeah, that may be changed. Um, got some questions. So the question is, what is Logstash? Um, Logstash is an open source server side of data process of so Logstash is a part of ELK, Elasticsearch and Kibana. That's a stack that stands for for logging and monitoring information. That's an open source an open source project that we just integrated into our system. You can easily Google it, and maybe you may want to use it somewhere in your system, for example. So that's like um, not our implementation. The next thing that we're gonna talk about is how to monitor the replication speed. Um, Grafana is now part of Acura, and we uh, we gather statistics and to monitor the replication processes and store all of this in Influx, and gets the dashboard from Grafana. Grafana is also like an open source project um, that you can also Google, providing some source, some analytics and interactive visualization to their users. It provides chats, graphs, and so on. So that's what we integrated into our system also. And Grafana is available inside Acura by its IP and the port 30082. Um, the replication agent, here are the credentials that you may use to get inside to log into to the Grafana service. There are two sources of replication statistics that we use. It's gathered by receiver service in Acura and by replication agent. A question here: user and password are fixed. Yes, user and password they are pre-configured, I would say. Yeah, for all the users, but of course each specific cluster will have its own Grafana inside. Um, so every 30 seconds, either receiver or replication agents, it accumulates the data and dumps it into InfluxDB DB via the Keeper service, and this way we gather the statistics from these two services. Uh, some information about the measurements. I think that I will show you how it looks like and to explain a little bit. Here is the dashboard. Um, one of the dashboard. We provide several dashboards to our customers that are available right from here. So you can get some statistics per customer, per some specific device, or even for some specific snapshot, for example, for some specific backup. I'm going to show you an example of the device. I'm going to copy my device ID directly from Acura interface. And this is the idea that I can filter by to get the information about statistics. So here is my ID, and I'm gonna just paste it here. Okay. Here you may see that some graphics appear. By default, the time interval is time range is 6 hours, but it can easily be set to some other time range, or even to some specific interval if I want to get the information more precisely. So what actually these graphics what graphs mean? Here you may see there is information about received blocks. It's like total amount of blocks that is received by the receiver, by Acura itself. Here I have here was my peak. Yeah, here it is. So as you may see, not so much data was sent here. Processed blocks, that's the amount of actually written blocks. So the ones that are unique and that Acura writes. Also from these graphs, you may get the numbers about optimized blocks and empty blocks. So empty blocks are we have some empty block hash that we have calculated, and that's the number of blocks, the amount of blocks with this specific empty hash. So we're not actually sending this. The optimized blocks are amount of blocks matched with the cache. So that's the optimization part. Um, from these graphs, we also get the speed to the uh, to the Acura control panel. So if I start replication, bulk actions, and start production, I will get the speed of replication right over here. And that's the speed that is also counted um, right from here, from Grafana, optimized and set to the Acura interface. It's calculated by the amount of blocks and by the time, of course. So the machines are in current state. I just want to show you live how it looks like. And I may get some other machine ID, for example, to filter by. Yeah, it's better to see the replication speed this way. My last 15 minutes. It's preparing, creating snapshots. And here is the speed. The speed is also calculated from the statistics that we get from the number of from the amount of data that is sent and the time. Minutes. So here is my average speed, and here is the current one. They're pretty much the same. Here, as you may see, there is nothing to be sent. So the replication speed is 0 because there is nothing to be sent, or some small amount of blocks, some just megabytes to be sent. They are sent pretty quickly. Okay, so these are the points that I've just talked about the number of received blocks, processed, empty, and so on. And that's the part that we get from receiver. So obviously, from the statistics, you may get the bottleneck of your replication. For example, if you see that the speed is the receiver speed is low, but the agent replication agent speed is high. So obviously the bottleneck here is somewhere in the bandwidth, or somewhere in the network part. In case of in case in case of, for example, having some low speeds from the replication agent, we may think that the problem is on the disk side, because the disks are slow and the agent is getting the data from the disks very slow. Um, as for the replication agent, it provides the following measurements. Again, I will go back to Grafana and get to this graphic that stands for the replication agent speeds. Um, so first of all, read speed, disk read speed, that's the speed that with which the agent itself reads the data. So as I've just explained you in an example, if this speed is low and the agent itself is reading the information from the disk very slowly, obviously it will send the information slowly, and the problem here will be not in bandwidth, of course, but in the replication agent and the disk itself, because the agent relies on the disk input-output operations to read with some specific speed. From the optimized send rate, that's the amount of blocks that was optimized by receiver from the previous request till now. So receiver is optimizing the sending parts and interacting with the replication itself. So here we can get the actual size of the replicate of the optimized blocks. Data send rate stands for stands for the speed with which the replication agent is able to send the information to the blocks to the receiver. So if the speed here is high, but the speed here is low in the receiver part, means that the replication agent itself it's capable to send the data um, very quickly, but the bandwidth it doesn't allow to send the information so quickly as it can. Okay. So as for this specific graphic, it has information about data processing time. For example, here uh, from replication agents, we get agent sending time. That means that says for the total time in seconds. From the previous request till now for sending blocks from replication manager to receiver, that stands for the interaction between the replication manager, the replication agent, and between Acura, the receiver pod there. As for the disk reading time, That's the total time in seconds again from the previous request till now for reading the blocks in CPT. Of course, we're getting the blocks from the disk, and that is the time that it takes us per request to read the blocks. As for um, As for receiving processing time, that's the average time spent on the chunk processing. So we're sending the data by chunks, and that is the time for on each that is taken for each chunk to process. And as for the receiver storage waiting time, that's the average time spent on a saving block to storage. That's the time how we write the data to the storage. Okay, so yeah, looks like I covered all the points of the graphs. Boolean intervals for the machine's tables are 20 seconds. So each 20 seconds, the table is refreshed automatically, and the information here is updated, the speed and the percentage. Okay, replication speed is shown as average for the last minute. Yeah, so that the speed that you may see in the Acura interface, it's like an average speed with which the replication is going. A note about where to get the ID of the machine to use for the for getting the statistics. And the question here, can you please explain again what is optimized send rate? Of course, yeah. Yeah, just let me go back to Grafana. Optimized, what word is it in optimized send rate? Okay, optimized send rate right over here in my, yeah, so this one. Okay, so optimized send rate stands for the amount of blocks that was optimized by receiver from the previous request till now. So um, there were hashes that are sent that was sent to receiver, and receiver turns back the the amount of blocks that it can optimize. So these are like this is like the connection between replication agent and the receiver. Okay, let me explain it again. Um, optimized send rate is the amount of blocks that was optimized by a receiver after the agent sent request to it till now. So the agent, it sends the hashes to the hashes of blocks to the receiver, and receiver returns back here to the replication agents the amount of blocks that can be optimized. Does it make sense? Is it clear? Or more clear at least? I think that when you actually um, take a look at this yourself a little bit, it will be more understandable maybe. Yes, that's the algorithm from Acura. That's how it counts hashes and how it optimizes the blocks, the sending blocks. And where to get, so here from this dashboard, I can get statistics from the device, but also I can get statistics for a customer or for a snapshot. So where to get the customer ID? Um, right here from the URL, I can copy this customer ID, paste it to my Grafana, and get the statistics for the customer in general. And the same for snapshots, but the snapshots we need to get from the API. So there is an API to get the list of snapshots, and from the list of snapshots we can get some specific one and get its statistics, or we can get the snapshot ID directly from the replication agent logs, for example, right from here. Okay, I will reload it, and there will be information about snapshot. I will try to find it. Snapshot. Okay, so that's the snapshot. That's the ID of the snapshot. I can copy this snapshot ID and paste it to Grafana to get the statistics for um, some specific replication, for some specific backup. The question again, are you planning to make file level restores a feature in the future? Yes, yes, we have it in our roadmap, and by the end of the year, we're expecting to have it to go it live, to release it. Mostly that's it from my side about the monitoring and logging on Acura. Again, once again, link to our knowledge base that may be quite useful to you. We are constantly updating our articles to according to also the questions that we get from our customers to make the usage factor more user friendly and comfortable to our users. Uh, Thank you for your time. In case if there are no more questions, have a good day, have a good night, and keep safe. We'll send you the links, we'll send you the videos, and we'll be thankful for getting some feedback from you. Thank you. Bye.